Welcome, this is Shakti Carola Nevrin. I'm an online astrologer and I am an evolutionary astrologer. So in evolutionary astrology we are looking at your personal chart or at that snapshot of the birthing of something happening from an evolutionary or karmic perspective. So that means this is a teaching, this is a path of choices, of conscious choices. So the idea is that wherever the planets are in the signs and how they are hooked up with each other, that there's a whole variety of possibilities how they can manifest. So there are always a low-end manifestation of possibilities and the high-end manifestations. So in general, we could say whenever we go the low-end way of possibilities, this is where there's a lot of suffering and painful experiences. So and then we get smarter and we find better ways to bring our potential into life. So my whole approach with astrology is I want to help you to thrive, to really live your fullest potential. And the deciding factor, as always, is consciousness. Consciousness is the key, and knowing ourselves as who we are in the variety of potentials and possibilities. So I'm doing these astrological forecasts. I do a daily 1 minute on my Facebook page and Instagram. I do a weekly power astrological forecast on Saturdays, where I look forward into the week, and then I do these little extra ones for the full moon, for the new moon, Mercury retrograde. So if you sign up on my website mauiastrologyreading.com, then I can keep you in the loop for all the videos and forecasts I'm doing and all the events. So that's a smart thing to do. Also, you will get a free chart and your love stone report, which is based on your Venus position in your chart. So it will give you a little report for which is a gemstone really for your heart and helping to heal the wounds. We all have wounds in the heart. So and your chart. And when you have your chart and you know how that looks like, then you can always correlate back the general forecast information I give you, and you know where it happens in your chart and how it affects you personally. And this is where astrology really gets interesting. So get to my website mauiastrologyreading.com and get walked through the steps. You need your birth information, your date, your place of birth and your time of birth, and then you have your chart. So it kind of looks something like that. So today I want to talk with you about the full moon, which is a very poignant, very strong one, because how it's kind of connected with the other planets in the heavens. So on one hand, we have the Sun in conjunction with Mercury. Hi Sharon, good to see you. So we have kind of configuration we call a T-square. So there is Sun, Mercury in Libra, opposed by Moon, Uranus in Aries, and both are squaring and focus on the Mars Pluto. So that is a very potentially violent and potent energy mix. So I'm going to go through all the aspects of it to get you prepared properly. And just to know, there are no bad planets, there are no bad configurations. There is just always our choice, our ability to choose and live the potentials in the highway. And just listening to this forecast will kind of give you more access to the higher road to make better choices for yourself. So the Aries full moon is happening October 15th, 16th, depending on where you are in the world. And I have listeners from all over the world, so you have to calibrate it back to where you are and which time zone. And it's happening at 23 degrees 14 minutes in Aries. And that moon is very close, just a few minutes away from Uranus. So Moon Uranus in Aries. Aries is the beginning of one circle of evolution. Aries symbolizes that initial strong force of beginning a new cycle of evolution. Hi Diane. So Aries is a pioneer, the warrior spirit, and it correlates back to the spring equinox. So with a full moon, which is by definition a fully exposed potential to become aware of an emotional dimension inside of yourself. That is happening in the sign where something new is happening. And with Uranus in the mix, Uranus the rebel, the revolutionary. Uranus is a symbol in the chart where it's really about change and evolution. I always say without Uranus we would still be in the caves. No internet whatsoever. Can you even imagine that? So Uranus is that force of building up behind the dam. And then at some point there is a certain level of consciousness achieved. And then the last drop, so to speak. And then there is that breakthrough to a new level of consciousness. So in itself we look at Uranus as a god of lightning, the god of... because it seems like that build up behind the dam, and when the dam breaks, that is very sudden. But it's just in our perspective. There is always something happening before that sudden change is happening. So when Uranus is in conjunction with the moon, it means that those energies are flowing together, mixing together, needing a way to express together something. So moon, remember, moon is symbolizing your inner world, your access to your unconsciousness. When we go with the image of the wave, the moon is a 90 to 95% unconsciousness, as Carl Jung described it. So the moon activation throughout the months can give you access to unconscious material, to things you haven't even been aware of, but which might have pushed and steered or pulled you into certain directions anyway. So the moon in Aries is spunky, is fiery, is passionate. So the high end of that is you are offered a chance this month to really connect with what drives you. What makes you want to get out of bed in the morning? What do you feel passionate about? What is it worth fighting for, so to speak? All right, so you have a lot of action there, Sharon. So, but it's connected with a trine, because it's wait, Gemini, Aries. We're talking about the moon in Aries. I got confused here for a moment. So anyway, Uranus moon is that breaking the rules, breaking the boundaries, breaking a very habituated way to be and feel and react to things, because Uranus moon together kind of connects us, makes us more conscious toward those inner dimensions. So if you have been following me with other forecasts, you know that whenever we look into one sign is truly expressed high end when the opposing sign is included, and they're complementing each other and meeting in the middle actually. So a fully embodied and high-end Aries includes Libra qualities. So Libra is ruled by Venus. Libra is all about a relationship. Libra is all about finding the balance, finding the peace, the loving, kind connection with other people. So Aries is the warrior who learns to stand up, to defend its position, to make a splash, to stand strong. And also, if Libra qualities are included, there is a place where it's smart to make a compromise, where it's needed to pay attention to the others and not just push blindly forward. So the the Sun is in Libra and is in conjunction with Mercury. So this is the opposition I have been talking about. So Sun, our symbol for consciousness, for how we perceive things, our awareness, is in conjunction with Mercury, our intellectual filter to the world. The way we understand, the way we learn, the way we take in information. And at some point when we have been a student long enough, then it spills over and we start to become a teacher. The full moon, okay, the full moon is 23 degrees in Aries and is in conjunction with that Uranus. So the Sun is therefore, by definition, Sun is opposition that Moon. So the Sun is 23 degrees in Libra. And yeah, Sharon, this is where you were right. The Libras are affected here. So the Sun wants that balance, wants that harmony, that love, that connection, that beauty. And Aries wants to fight for something. So I do believe that is really the overall theme, at least the next 2 weeks. And then we have Mars Pluto. And I've talked in my weekly power on Saturday a little bit about Mars energy and how to be with that in a conscious way. So Mars Pluto, this is a big one. So Mars, the warrior, carrying the warrior energy of Aries, and Pluto, the god of the underworld. You can imagine there is almost no more volatile energy symbols coming together and needing to work something out. So for us as individuals, depending on how it activates our chart, but I do believe to some extent that is important for all of us, is that we have to become more conscious how we deal with our anger. I do believe we all have not learned how to deal with anger in a good way. So from early on we were trained to not be angry, to push it down, wasn't appropriate to blow up onto somebody, and when we children, all these somebodies in our life are so much stronger and more powerful, so we better keep it in. And so we kind of trained out of even the awareness of when we have an angry reaction. So usually we just learn to stuff it down. And then when we, for example, have a lot of fire in our chart, then somebody hits a trigger point and then it spouts up. It's like the volcano blowing up. And some people really have a strong anger issue in their chart to deal with. Well, right now we all have to deal with anger issues with this full moon. It's really like right in our face for each one of us. So you can get more information how that might play out for you is to look where your Mars is in your chart. That gives you kind of a general idea how you are personally with feeling your anger, expressing your anger. And there are ways how we can learn how to do that. And the first step is always to actually be aware when you have an angry reaction. And that's why I'm always talking about the witness and developing the witness kind of up there gives us a little space to reactivity. So all these planets, the Sun Mercury, the Moon Uranus, the Pluto Mars, they're all in cardinal signs. So that's a big shift to where they were earlier in the year. Cardinal is a beginning energy. So on top of all the area stuff, there is a cardinal energy of all those planets. So something new wants to happen, wants to evolve out of where we are. And when we look into the world, there are a lot of things not really working, and a lot of decisions are driven by greed and power. So I do believe that we as a person have a personal PowerPoint. So depending on how we filter and integrate all those energies impacting all of us, this is where we can make a difference in the world, where we do filter back consciousness into the morphogenetic field, into the overall consciousness of all being. So developing the witness function goes a long way to have that little space, so you don't add to that overall consciousness your own anger, your own suppressed rage. So this is an intense full moon for all of us. So you can expect on the day itself that you will have a shorter fuse than usual. And just watching yourself and being prepared through me talking about it will help. So just by recognizing when it's happening, it will give you that little spaciousness. And whenever we have that space, then we really have a decision, how do we want to run this energy? There is a training program out there called Nonviolent Communication or Compassionate Communication. And it's a program where you can learn how to express yourself in a way, communicate with your partner and others, bosses, friends, in a way that they really hear you and they really get you. And usually that works the best when we're not attacking the other. Whenever we are with that attacking, violent, angry energy going out, people are closing down, getting defensive, and usually it doesn't go anywhere. So if you feel called to that, that might be something to check out this month. Just to pay a little more attention how you react to others, how you react to critic, if somebody comes at you very strongly, and to learn how you can navigate that. And consciousness really is a key. Okay, I'm going to read the comments a little later, otherwise I'm getting confused here. Okay, so on the big picture in the world, on the political stage, on the economical stage, this time frame around this full moon might be very volatile. So we can expect meltdowns in the markets again. There's already a build-up. I've just read this morning the Dresdner Bank, which is actually, I think it's the biggest international bank, but originated in Germany. They're kind of, everything is melting down. So the question is if the government bails them out, but then it sets a sign to the other bank. So anyway, there is a lot kind of brewing right now. So around the full moon, that might be a time where things break very sudden, and we're confronted with certain events in the world. I mean, I'm not a fearmonger, so it's not like woo woo woo, this is going to happen, because I truly believe that the more conscious we are what's happening in our world and to step into our own power will help the overall momentum, and this is really where our personal PowerPoint is. But having said that, there are definitely certain constellations which lean more towards the low end of manifestations in the three-dimensional world. So this full moon is definitely one of those potentials to really express itself on the low end. It doesn't mean that you in your personal life might not be touched like that. So again, I believe you getting this information will go a long way for centering yourself. So to help you a little more with that, I want to talk about the high end of those 3 points, part of the T-square. So again, the high end of Sun Mercury is understanding, is kind communication, from the heart, seeing the other as somebody complementing us, as ultimately being part of us. So it's like you're not the only wave in the ocean, there are all the other waves, and ultimately all the waves are part of the ocean. So when we come from that consciousness and that perspective, of course we will treat others with kindness and love. So if you make a point around this time to bring that spark of lightness and kindness and love to the world. And sometimes it just means you smile at the cashier in the store, something like that, to really consciously bring in that energy into the world. I think that will be really helpful and powerful. If we all do that, we really live in a different world. Okay, high-end Mars-Pluto is to find out personally in your life what you're passionate about, what it's worth putting effort in and stepping up. So for me, with my video making and my Master Astrology Academy I have been launching this week, it's a challenge. So for me to launch this and say, here, people in the world, people knowing me, following me, this is what I have to offer. I can teach you astrology really even better than through the forecasts. That is an act of courage and passion, because I feel so passionate about astrology. So if you're interested to learn more about astrology, and especially evolutionary astrology, you can look at the link down there I'm going to put in, where you can check out my Master Astrology Academy and see if this is something for you and if I'm the right person for you to teach you more deeply about the potentials and the gifts of astrology. Okay, and then the Moon Uranus, high end. Moon always wants us to connect with our inner guidance system. The inner guidance system of our emotions, and in general we can say whenever we feel good, feel motivated, feel happy, joyful, in the flow, then we're on the right track. Whenever we feel frustrated, angry, then probably that is kind of a hello from our inner guidance that we are not quite in alignment with the highest possibilities of choices available to us. Okay, so these are all the things which I thought were very important to know going towards the full moon. So I'm going to go through the comments yet now, and if you leave me comments later on when you watch the replay, I promise I will get back to the comments, so you can do that later on too. Okay, so okay, Helen, hi. 10 degrees Aries. So you do have the Ascendant in Aries, so the face you show to the world is symbolized by the Ascendant. So you will be impacted from the full moon in Aries, because it's happening there. So you might find yourself more reactive, more emotional than usual, even if it's not 23 degrees, so it's not right on your Ascendant, but it's in your first house. So you will be called with this full moon to really implement your personal adjustments to higher end expressions and help the world with that. Bring in your little rays of consciousness and guiding that back to the morphogenetic field. Okay, Aries, house 12. Okay, Sun is in Aries. Diane, okay, so it's the same. This will be impactful for you. So whenever we have Sun, Ascendant, or Moon in a sign where these activations are happening, they really impact us. So, and you said you're already feeling the volatility that's part of that. And with the sun in Aries, you are somebody who's usually kind of fiery, spontaneous. I always say Aries sun for a woman is the Amazon, the quality of really going after for what you want and what your needs are in life. So that will be in the forefront for you. Okay, Sharon, comfortable with my anger. Dialoguing with my anger. Okay, that's a good way actually to do it. So if you feel the anger, so you know something is cooking there inside of you, then you could start an inner dialogue and see how you can personally adjust and deal with that. So that's a good hint here. Thank you. Okay, and then we have a Mars in Aries and Pluto in Leo. Again, that Mars in Aries will be triggered because not only is a full moon happening at 23 degrees with the Uranus there, but it will already moving towards that 23 degrees, it will probably move over your Mars in Aries. So that will be a day where you kind of have a shorter fuse, so to speak. Okay, so I think that was what I wanted to cover. I'm trying to keep the videos shorter, just to be respectful of your time. But yeah, with a full moon and new moon, it's easier than with a weekly forecast. There's just so much more to talk about. Okay, my dears, I am glad you joined me. If you don't have any more questions, then I will see you on Saturday again for the weekly power forecast. Okay, seems like we're done for the day. Aloha, namaste, all the best to you, and I see you soon. Bye.